When non-reptile people ask me about my snakes, they usually ask how many I have and what kind, and that gets me talking way too long about snakes. And I know this because I see their eyes gloss over, and then I feel like I've lost a friend. So what I'd like to be able to do is just give them a total weight in pounds and total length in feet of just the snakeage that I have in the green room. And then if they have further questions from there, they can ask. Welcome to the green room. I'm Bob Bledsoe. This is Maya, one of the snakes that I'll be weighing and measuring for this video. While I'm doing that, I'm going to be answering some questions and maybe solving some problems that I asked the Horde of Keepers over on Patreon to chime in on. That's Kent, by the way. Wait till you measure them all and find out that you've got like 100 yards worth of snake, and then tell me that a human can't fit into a snake's stomach. Kent, how do you even... Never mind. Got him. I'm going to be measuring in feet and inches, and I'll weigh in grams, but then I'll convert that to pounds. So if you want to pop a guess in the comments section, go for it. If you're in the UK, I guess you can guess in, what, hectares and pound sterling? I don't understand how your words work. Hey guys, I'm setting this up out here. I'm going to take a guess, though, before I do anything, and my guess is 60. That's it. 60 pounds, 60 feet. Before I get into these questions, let's talk about this weight and measurement thing. It really doesn't matter, unless you're breeding and you want to know if your snake is up to weight to breed. And even then, a lot of people just eyeball it. But the fact is that, you know, the weight of your snake and the length of your snake is usually just a curiosity thing. Most of my snakes I haven't weighed since they were hatchlings, and I think I've only ever measured maybe 3 or 4 of my snakes, including this one, Maya, my black-headed python, has been measured. And it should also be noted that the length to weight ratio of your snake is not a good way to determine whether your snake is healthy or not. And I know that most people watching this are probably keepers of ball pythons, and I'm holding a black-headed python here. I think in most cases for almost any snake, but especially ball pythons, that's not a good way to determine whether your snake is healthy or not. It's really just body condition, because they can weigh a massive difference based on what they've eaten, whether they've pooped recently, all kinds of stuff. So it's really just eyeballing your snake's body condition. But let me show you how I do it. Maya, I gotta put you down. Is that cool? Check out Maya, you guys. She's going away. Say goodbye to Maya. I weigh my snakes with a scale. Surprise! Wow, I'm really lifting the curtain here. I do it with this Vivarium Electronics scale. Is this scale more accurate than just a kitchen scale? No, it's not. Is it more expensive? Yes, it is. I think the expense is justified, though, because this Vivarium Electronics scale is made of actual metal and it's heavy duty, versus this, whatever this is, kitchen scale, which is very accurate also, but it's made of plastic and it really feels like it'll break if I look at it wrong. So, you know, but both are very easily used. I tested this earlier, and this one will hold 5,000 grams. This will hold 6,000 grams. That's a little over 13 pounds. So if you're trying to weigh a 13-pound snake on this, you're doing it wrong. Just for reference, if you have a large snake and you want to weigh them, you probably already know this, but you would stand on a scale holding the snake and then subtract your own weight from that. A lot of people have trouble using a scale like this for snakes that are larger than hatchlings because they get all over the place and it's just tough to weigh them. Here's how I do it. So for a hatchling, I just use the basket that the scale comes with. For a snake that's a bit larger than this basket, I would use their own upturned hide. Just put them in their hide. You can go larger and larger with the hides. I have very big hides that I put on here. But eventually, the problem is going to be that your hide eclipses your ability to see the readout here, and that's a problem. Here's what I do there. This is a piece of glass. It's off of a coffee table, like an end table thing that I have. And not everybody just has a piece of glass like this laying around, but if you do, it's super helpful. Just put the snake on the glass. You can see right through, you can see the readout. It works really well for my bigger ball pythons. I use the snake measuring tool at serpwidgets.com if I want to measure a snake. Basically what you do is throw a ruler down on the ground or anything that you know the exact measurement of, and then put your snake next to it. Take a photo from right above them and upload that photo to this SERP widgets thing. Then you do point to point of exactly the 12 inches or whatever the measurement that you want to use is. And then you can track along your snake's spine point to point, and it will measure your snake. There are other ways to do it. You can use a string and just put the string along your snake, track that way, and then measure the string. You can do a thing where you allow your snake to crawl along a wall. They like to do that a lot of times, and that's the only time that they're perfectly straight. And then you can try and get a dot-to-dot distance and measure that distance between their nose and tail, stuff like that. By far, I think the easiest thing to do, though, is not measure your snakes. It's going to save you a lot of time. I've got 23 snakes to measure. Okay, let's get to a few of these questions from the Patreon supporters. This is one that I get a lot, or that I see a lot at least. It's basically, what if I just got a brand new snake and I can't wait a week to hold it? I really want to hold my snake. Do I have to wait the entire week? And normally my answer is yes, wait the week. And the reason I say that is because I can't see the setup, I can't see the snake, I can't assess how the snake's doing, so a week is sort of a good general medium time frame. I'm going to tell you what I do in general is I make sure the snake has a really good setup first, and I'm confident that I can set up a hatchling to where they're going to feel comfortable as soon as they possibly can. So I set them up really well, and I give them about 5 days, and if they seem to be doing well in 5 days, then I'll gently offer a meal. I'm not gonna pop them in the nose with a rat or anything like that. I'm just gonna gently offer. If they take the meal on day 5, then I'll wait a day for them to digest, and then I can start handling. The reason I only wait a day is that first meal is usually a smaller one than they normally would have, so it's not like they have a big massive lump in their belly 24 hours later. Now that works for me pretty well, but some snakes are gonna take a lot longer to settle in, and you just don't know because it depends on the snake. It also depends on your setup, but aside from that, it's going to also depend on just how confident your snake is. So the best thing is to just get it in your head that you're going to have a display animal for a little while, and it might be 5 days, and it might be 2 weeks, it might be 3 weeks. And hopefully it's a terrible display animal, because you want to give them plenty of hides and plenty of places to feel like they're secure and hidden. So unfortunately, you're not going to be able to see your display animal very well. Sorry, it's not the answer people are looking for. I'm going to keep weighing and measuring snakes while you watch Kent's Corner.
Hi, and welcome to, you're watching the best thing, Kent's Corner. As many of you know, I have my very own snake. His name is Eric the Murderer, and I thought today would be a great day to measure him. I like to measure my snake by sort of estimating based on the size of other known animals. And I would say that Eric is about as long as the wingspan of the majestic ostrich. Ostriches are massive birds, and they need a huge wingspan in order to take to the skies. And Eric is about as long as that. And he's a very heavy animal. His weight fluctuates based on how many people he's eaten. And right now, he's very heavy, so I'm guessing there might be a couple neighbors missing. But I would say that he's about as heavy as a large ostrich. Like, if an ostrich was this heavy, it may not even be able to take to the skies. So, thank you for watching Kent's Corner.
Kent, your knowledge of animals, super impressive, really.
I'm choosing to ignore your disrespectful sarcasm, and I'll take the compliment. Thank you very much.
Here are some of the fine folks that helped out with the questions for this video. These are the Horde of Keepers, and if you're interested in being part of the group of people that I turn to and make a video and go, you guys, it's Friday and I'm just now figuring out what my video is going to be and I need your help, and you want to be one of those people that help me out, be part of the Horde of Keepers, come over to Patreon. Also, they get extra things. They get perks and stuff, extra videos, and some get t-shirts and some get sticker packs and stuff like that, and you get your name on a board. You get your name on a handwritten mid-video Patreon scroll. So that's a fun thing. The biggest thing about this a channel sponsor. Biggest thing is the community. It's great. Come be a part of it. I should do commercials more. Paper towels. I think they're great. Get yourself a paper towel today. It's really good. It's like I'm really good at that. Next question. How do you set up a heat panel so that the snake doesn't get burned? Snakes climb. Yes, they do. And the thing to remember, though, is that you obviously don't want to have perching right directly under the heat panel. You want to have, like for my superdwarfs, they both have heat panels, and they have a shelf under the heat panel, and I set my temps so that that shelf is their basking shelf. I want that to be about 86, 87 degrees for a super dwarf reticulated python, at least for these particular ones. You can go higher if you want, but a lot of times they don't like it. And I don't have perching that goes way up higher than that. They can get up higher. They can even touch the heat panel if they want to, but they don't spend a lot of time doing that. So your snake's not going to just go up there and sit and burn themselves, like push their head against that heat panel and burn themselves. Probably. Right now, Stella has a log that's sitting on her shelf. She could sit on that log and get quite a bit hotter if she wanted to, but she doesn't like that, so she doesn't ever do it. Heat panels work really great though, and CHE, it's the same thing if you have a CHE on a screen top. The snake could get up to the screen top, and if they sat their head right there for a while, they would burn their head, but they just don't. Here's a really good question from a new keeper. How much weight a week is healthy for my baby ball python to gain? He's been gaining about 10 to 20 grams a week, and some people are telling me that's too much. Okay, there's no need to weigh your snake. Your snake's going to weigh more if he has a meal in his belly or less if he just pooped. The better way to judge whether things are going well is to make sure that you're feeding the appropriately sized prey in an appropriate interval for your snake, for the species, for the age or size of the snake. And Taylor goes on to say that her snake is getting a rat pup once a week. And for a baby snake, that sounds perfect. So you're doing fine. Don't worry about the weight gain. A lot of that also has to do with the genetics from the parents. I don't mean the morph, but just the genes that you get for the size of the snake. Ball pythons, we say get to a certain size, but within that, just like humans, some are bigger, some are smaller, some will grow faster, some won't grow as fast. So that's stuff that you don't have to worry about. Genetics will handle that. But it sounds like you're feeding your baby snake perfectly right now. I love this next one because sometimes your problem is not a major problem. Sometimes it's just a minor thing. But if you're having a problem, other people are probably having it as well. My main challenge, and please don't laugh, is that sometimes I have a hard time finding my ball python's poop. Yeah, me too. My problem, though, is with the super dwarfs. Because they poop really small in all that cocoa chip, it's hard to find. I use a flashlight, and that works really well. Even in a well-lit enclosure, use a flashlight and you'll find it. I sometimes go through the tubs with a flashlight because it's no fun when you're at like your full clean out day and you get rid of all the substrate and you're like, oh my gosh, how long has that been in there? So a flashlight will be your poop finding best friend. Please make sure to credit me if you use that inspirational quote, like on a t-shirt or if you embroider it on something. Thanks. Okay, last question, and then we're going to find out how much total snake I have in the green room. Have you made your guesses yet? Here's a hint. This is Echo. She's this big. And further hint, Stella is also exactly this big. So make your guesses. The final question comes from somebody saw something on Reddit, I guess a couple weeks ago, that a keeper had been bitten by their ball python and now they're afraid to deal with it. And this is a common problem that comes up a lot, and it's one of the reasons that I suggest that if people are afraid of snakes, to make sure you're totally over your fear before you purchase a snake as a pet. But this is a mental thing for the most part, especially with ball pythons. We're not talking about massive retics or Burmese pythons or anything with really long teeth like a Amazon tree boa. But with a ball python, the main trauma that you're going to have when you get bit is going to be being startled. And also maybe the mental thing of, oh my gosh, I just got a snake bite, right? Because we're sort of conditioned to think that a snake bite is really bad. But it's a mental thing. And if we take away that part of the trauma, the being startled by it, and we look at what it actually did, probably what it did is poked a few very small holes, enough to cause some blood though. So you've got some holes in your skin that don't really hurt. If you really think about it, it doesn't really hurt. And if there's any pain, it lasts a few minutes. The blood is gone by the time you wipe it off and put a little pressure on there. I got Echo just crawling over the top of my head for this. And then what you're left with is cool teeth marks that you're going to show your friends like you just got a new tattoo. So if you can sort of compartmentalize the things that you we're traumatized by and look at what those really are, sometimes you can work through that trauma and realize that getting bit is not a big deal, because what you really want is to be in a place where you're not afraid to get bit. Not to where you think, oh, my snake's never going to bite me again, because that's not necessarily true. They could bite you. You just don't want to be afraid to get bit. I think most people can do that work, and it's important to do because nobody wants to rehome a snake because they're unnecessarily afraid of it and now it's being neglected. Another thing you can do that's really great is just do a deep dive learning about snake behavior and body language. The more you learn, the less afraid you're going to be. I have a few videos on body language and such. Results. Now, my guess was 60 for both, and I can cheat because they're my snakes, right? So I spent a few minutes sitting on the couch looking at each enclosure, just going 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, 2 feet, and just added all that up. It came up to about 60. That was my length guess. And then I didn't want to spend any more time on it, so I just went, I'm going to guess that for weight as well, thinking I'm going to be way off for weight, and I might actually be close for length. But here's the thing. I was way off on length, but I kind of nailed the weight because... let's see, where's it at? My snakes weigh in at 27,547 grams, which, according to the fine folks at Google, is 60.731 pounds. Not bad. As it turns out, I underestimated the length by quite a bit, which is totally uncharacteristic of somebody who owns a couple retics. Now that boy right there, if you were to stretch him out, measure him up tongue to tail, he'd come in at about 32 feet. And he's got a lot of growing left to do. This hat, by the way, comes from Dylan, one of my Patreon supporters, who came to the green room in person to pick up a snake that he got from me and brought me this hat, which I think is perfect for Retic Exaggerator Guy. That's the name of that character. It's probably not his given name. Like, it's not on his birth certificate. It'd be weird for a mother to have a baby and be like, Retic Exaggerator Guy. She wouldn't. How would she even know that he has retics? She wouldn't. His real name's probably Alan. We don't know. Let's get back to this. Let's get back to this. This is so stupid. We're getting back to the length of the snake. The length of all the snakeage here in the green room is 84 feet 7 inches. We're gonna round up. I'm calling it 61 pounds and 85 feet of snake. Hey, do you want to see one of those behavior and body language videos that I was talking about? Check out this one. That'll give you a good start. Tomorrow's feeding day. I'm going to have to weigh and measure them all over again. Dang it.